Hey guys, welcome to my channel, and today I'll be reading a Midoriya Reader by BNHA World on Tumblr. It was over. The villain crumpled over upon himself, with nothing but a grunt of defeat left in his tongue. He grinned softly to himself as he watched him go down. Despite the smoke and fires, he knew that the biggest of your troubles were over. Or that's how you felt at the time. You stood up only to fall over yourself. The sharp pain digging into your stomach caused you to wince in pain, but your smile never faltered. You were more than happy to have finally finished up the villain that so desperately wished to wreak havoc across the city you loved so dearly. Your vision was outlined in blurs, and you felt yourself growing heavier. Your heart sunk, but only for a moment as you realized that it's my time. You chuckled to yourself. You peered over the villain, his body limp on the ground. You dropped slowly to your knees, then leaned onto your back. Your hand clutched at the gaps in your stomach. Your other hand holding onto the farmer's arm in support. You sat there, watching the moon take its cycle, and you felt too dazed to hear the cheers for you. You had taken the villain down that had terrorized your people for months. You were one of the greatest heroes, and that one would go down in history. You felt the cloth of your shirt growing wet, and you let out a soft grunt in pain, squinting at the sky. It was too loud, and yet you heard little to nothing, everything fading into background noise. The few buildings left standing were reflecting red and blue lights, and you squinted a little bit before simply sighing and having to wait for the paramedics. What you did not expect was the green hair and eyes staring down at you in concern. Mayan, you heard him, loud and all too clear. It was the one thing you could hear, only his voice. Mayan, please, stay with me. Midoriya choked out, looking down at you with his big baby eyes. You felt the gentle tears falling on your cheek. You wanted desperately to say something, but every moment brought you greater pain than the last. Izuku started grabbing his things, fishing for a syringe, for something, anything that could help you, and you vaguely flinched as he inserted the syringe into what was left of your forearm. Izuku, you croaked. He took your supporting arm and placed it on his wrist. A shaky, choked gasp slipped past him. Man, Izuku whispered, staring down at you. He reached up, wiping away his own tears. His eyes were widened, and you weren't sure if he was trembling from the violence of his sobs, or the terror so evidently etched across his face. Smile for me before I go, okay? You stare at him, leaving your own weak, half-hearted smile. Izuku's jaw dropped, and then clenched in almost a single motion. He couldn't bear to see you like this. He stared at the blood on your abdomen, then looked back up at you. He smiled, lips quivering, and yet it was so obviously forced. He knew better than to insist otherwise. He raised a bloody hand and pressed it on his cheek, the outer rim of your eyesight becoming pitch black, and your blinking felt as though it was in slow motion. You stared up at the boy who had given you the world. The main reason why you wanted to defeat this villain was for him anyway. You wanted to protect him from all evil and make the world a little safer for him, for people like him, for innocent pure hearts. You have sacrificed your own. You had finally done it. But at what cost? The world you wanted to protect him from would no longer exist for you. He would be stuck alone, traversing the rest of his life without you by his side. You were sure he would make it. Izuku was a sun. He was sunshine, and he could light up the entire world with his light, with or without you. He knew it. You were confident he would last without you. So at least, that had soothed your worries. Sleep felt comforting for you. As you saw him smiling, you knew it was okay. He would be okay. He knew very well how cruel the world was. But since you had paid the price, he knew that at least this was enough to protect him. You did what you wanted, and you had gotten what you had paid for. And finally, he could be safe, even if you wouldn't be there for him to see it. But the thought was reassuring in and of its own. It would be okay. Maybe not now, but eventually. And now, it was time for you to go. Love you. You weren't sure if you mouthed the words, or if you managed to leave them out. You stared at Izuku's lips. I love you, they read. A dull ringing filled your ears. Then nothing. And as Izuku watched your body go limp and was immediately filled with dread, the fragile smile I had forced on for you was quickly erased and immediately substituted with loud, messy sobs as he begged for you to come back, to give him one more smile, one last kiss. But alas, he knew that this time, his prayers would not be answered, for you were gone, never to come back.